Did you know that one of the leading causes of cardiac disease in America is consuming too much sodium? Let's take a deeper look into how sodium affects the body. So what is sodium and how does it impact your health? Let's take a closer look. There's a direct relationship between sodium intake and blood pressure. Sodium makes your body retain water. The more water your body is retaining makes your heart work harder. Have you ever taken your blood pressure or had a loved one take your blood pressure? When the doctor looks at numbers, what is it exactly that he's looking at? First, there's a top number and a bottom number. Let's talk about the top number. The top number represents systolic pressure. It reflects the force exerted against your blood vessels when your heart pumps. The bottom number is known as the diastolic pressure. It is the force on your blood vessels when your heart is relaxing between beats. Having high blood pressure can result in having hypertension. Normal systolic and diastolic rates are below 120 and below 80. If you're pre-hypertension, your systolic will be between 120 and 139, or your diastolic of 80 to 89. If you have stage 1 hypertension, your systolic increases to 140 to 159, while your diastolic 90 to 99. If you have stage 2 hypertension, your systolic will be a 160 or even greater, or your diastolic reading could be 100 or greater. If you're taking your blood pressure at home, and you notice your numbers are getting higher, you may want to consult your doctor. 9 out of 10 Americans consume too much sodium. High blood pressure is the leading risk factor for death in women in the United States, contributing to nearly 200,000 female deaths each year. That's nearly 5 times the 42,000 annual deaths from breast cancer. 77.9 million American adults have high blood pressure. Kids who have a high sodium diet are twice as likely to develop high blood pressure as kids who have low sodium diets. So where does this sodium come from? 65% comes from supermarkets and convenience stores and things we purchase at those places. 25% is from the food that we consume at restaurants. And 10% comes from other sources. The amount of sodium the average American consumes in a day is 3,400 milligrams. The American Heart Association recommends that we only consume 1,500 milligrams or less. Do the math, folks. That's double to almost triple the amount that we need in a day. What are you eating that is bringing your sodium levels way too high? What we like to call the salty sticks. Bread. How much bread do you consume in a day? There is so much sodium in bread because they add salt as a preservative. Pretzels and chips and other kinds of snacks, they have 3 times the amount of sodium you need, some even more than that. They may be healthy looking because they're not fried, but unfortunately they have so much sodium it'll skyrocket your blood pressure. Now we have deli meats. Deli meats on your sandwich. Deli meats have so much sodium as a preservative. They also add extra flavor, but again, it's way too much sodium. Sandwiches. Now we have a big problem. We have white bread, we have sodium from the white bread for the added preservatives, we have the sodium that's in the deli meats, we have sodium that's in cheese. This is not a good option for sodium. Pizza. Who doesn't love pizza? So much sodium, it's got processed flour, it's got extra sodium from cheese and processed meats, sausages, maybe even olives. All of those things have preservatives in them called salt. Cured meats, pepperoni, salami, bacon. These are all yummy, but they pack the sodium. And finally, cheese. Cheese is not good because it also contains too much sodium. There are lower sodium versions of all these things. And I know what you're saying, but chef, you're telling us that we're supposed to have calcium, and calcium comes from cheese. But that's why you have things in moderation. You don't have a lot of them. Are all of these things really bad for you? They're bad on sodium, but there's ways to make them healthier. One of the easiest ways to make something healthy is to combine certain ingredients to trick the palate to think that it's actually consuming something that it's not. In this case, it's sodium. Check out these ingredients, for instance. We're going to be making Texas caviar today. Now, I'm not talking about the caviar that comes from fish. I'm talking about a great snack. A great salsa that's filled with legumes such as beans, black-eyed peas, all kinds of vegetables. But if you look at these ingredients, if you combine, for instance, garlic, green onions, corn, All of these things combined on the palate make it seem like you're consuming sodium. Let me show you just how easy it is to combine these ingredients to trick your palate and your guests into thinking they're consuming a lot of salt. Check it out. So what's the mise en place that we need to make Texas caviar? First, we need to have a cutting board. We need to have something that goes underneath the cutting board so it doesn't slide around. We need a stainless steel bowl, a spoon to stir it with, a whisk, a presentation bowl, a zester, must have a knife, side towel is always great, and of course now we have the tasty ingredients: green onions, bell pepper, jalapeno, limes, tomatoes, corn, garlic, black-eyed peas, olive oil, crushed black pepper, and cumin. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the dressing for this Texas caviar. We have to take the juice of a lime, maybe a couple of them. We're just making a light vinaigrette. Always remember that vinaigrettes have some sort of citrus or vinegar of some type. This one has the limes because it's nice and fresh. Gives you that alkaline in your body, so your body works for you, not against you. We're looking for a 1-to-1 ratio of the olive oil and the lime juice to give a great consistency. We need to season that with some cumin. Gives you that nice earthiness. It's great flavor. Some might even say it's a little smoky. Crushed black pepper. It's always great. People love it. One thing I like to do to get some really extra flavor of the limes is I'm going to take my zester and I'm going to zest just the green part of the lime. If you do this ahead of time, it adds even more flavor as it sits. We're going to take some green onions. We're going to add those as well. You can cut those on a bias or you can mince those. I like to add them at the dressing stage because it adds more flavor as it sits as well. You know, again, everything you do makes a difference in how it tastes in the end. I'm going to go ahead and add that right now as well. Okay, so now we have to get the rest of our vegetables. I'm going to just clear this off real quick. Bell pepper. Sweet, succulent, juicy, oh so tasty. Not so many people like green ones though, so that's why I like to use colored. Remember, you know, you're always supposed to eat colors of the rainbow, they say, and that gives you all the vitamins that your body needs to operate properly. You can cut these whatever size you like. I'm going to go for a small dice or a medium dice here. All right, so we have our bell peppers. We have our green onion. We have our dressing already in there. We have some fresh corn. Now, if you're on the West Coast, not all the corn tastes all that great. It tastes more like field corn. It's a little what we call mealy. So the best option is to use frozen. Frozen is picked at the peak of ripeness, and it holds your nutritional value perfectly. It's great, nice and juicy. Just going to add that to it. This is about the amount of one whole cob, or maybe like 1 cup of corn. Black-eyed peas are found in the southern portion of America most generally. Did you know that if you consume black-eyed peas after the first of the year, it's supposed to bring you good luck? All right, jalapenos. Jalapenos. I love jalapenos. Jalapenos are hot. Actually, truthfully, jalapenos are awesome when it comes to raising the body temperature. It's called thermogenic effect. By raising your body temperature, it actually helps reduce the amount of fat in your body. Use as much or as little jalapeno as you like. If you're anything like my kids, they like a lot of hot stuff. And I mean hot. Like hot as in, if you don't remember you ate it, you remember it later. Now, word of caution with jalapenos. It's a hot pepper. It has something called capsicum in it. Capsicum is a hot oil. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wash my hands in cold water first. If you do it with hot water, it opens up the pores and all that oil heats up and goes inside your skin, and then you burn for a couple days. That's no good. I've got all that hot oils off of my hands. I'm going to go ahead and finish up the dish. I've got my fresh vine ripened tomatoes. I'm gonna cut around the core. Everybody's got their own version. You do what your chef showed you, or you do your favorite way. But I like to cut around the core, away from all the seeds. Get rid of that. And now I'm just gonna dice these up the same size that I diced everything else. And if you don't have a really good fresh tomato, you could always use a diced, no salt tomato out of a can. They're perfectly fine, just strain them a little bit and they'll be great. Try to use fresh whenever possible though. They contain the most amount of nutrients. So we need to add some aromatics. Aromatics in the way of garlic. So let's get that going. Take off that little end piece, that little root end. So we're just going to mince these up. Sometimes what I like to do is I like to add fresh garlic and add a little bit of the powdered just to make it so that it's a little bit more, gives it a little bit of kick. Keeps the vampires away too. So now we've got everything going. All we have to do, wait a minute. What did I forget? Cilantro. Cilantro. I like to add cilantro too. Cilantro is a great ingredient. It adds extra flavor to it. It adds extra freshness. Not everybody likes cilantro though, so if you don't like cilantro or if you know your guests don't, you could use parsley. Or you don't have to use it at all. I'm going to push that off to the side. I'm going to mince this up just like I did everything else. Come on, chef. Work a little bit more efficiently. Not have so much stuff in the way. All right, so I'm going to add my cilantro. I'm going to stir it up. This is fantastic if you refrigerate it for a few hours. You can make this up ahead of time. I like to let it sit for a couple hours, let those flavors develop. I actually like to serve it room temperature though, so if you're going to put it in the refrigerator, bring it out, put it in a presentation dish, and then let it sit for a few hours. Now we need to present it. I usually present it in stuff like this, but you know what? It's just not sexy enough. So let's use a martini glass. Oh, that's looking so good. Sexy, as we call it. I like to serve it with whole wheat pita chips, maybe some whole wheat crackers, or you can just eat it with a spoon. It's great stuff. Texas caviar. Not very much sodium, but everyone thinks it does. So what have we learned today? We learned how sodium plays an important role in our diets. The dreadful salty 6. Where we consume most of our sodium in our diets. And we've used all this information to make Texas caviar. I'm Chef Philip Dell, teaching the next generation of chefs how to eat and cook healthier and introduce those same ways to their menus worldwide.